The TV show we chose to do our learning community project on was Modern Family. We chose Modern Family because it includes blended families, divorce, homosexual marriage, adoption, and wide age gaps in marriage.
We have Straight Talk with this man right here, our special contributor, Steve Harvey. And this morning, the man whose relationship book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, has been on the New York Times bestseller list 34 weeks.
So happy. Put your hands together. Send the child to college.
And that's what we're trying to do. He's going to talk to us about something that also hits close to home for him, step families. As a father to 4, stepfather to 3, he and his beautiful wife, Marjorie, have faced many of the issues that arise when families are blended. And joining us this morning to share his do's and don'ts. And he will right after this.
This is what's called a blended family.
3 are Marjorie's kids, and 4 are Steve's from previous marriages.
These are my sons. These are my daughters. These are her sons. These are her daughters. And that's the way we operate around here.
When we first got together, I said I want all the kids to live with us. Not just my children, your children, but I need all of our children here.
This is the Brady family in brown. First thing we did, though, you know, we don't use the term stepchildren. I never referred to my youngest daughter as my stepdaughter. She's my daughter, she's my son, because I don't want them to feel alienated when I introduce them. You know, that doesn't work in everybody's house. You know, everybody got to make their own decisions. But in our house, we never use the term step. I'm not their stepdad, I'm their dad. You know, I'm making it happen for you every day. You know, let's not forget that. You know, stepdad, that's a big check. I think I deserve to be dad, you know. So, I mean, we just created that. That's just the one thing we make sure we do.
All right, well, let's get to the 2 couples here. Charlene and Jay, you're from Cincinnati?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
All right,
yes.
so you have 4 children, total 4 children, 2 each from a previous marriage.
Yes.
Right.
So tell us about your family and what's your question to Steve?
Well, I have 2 daughters, and she has a daughter and a son, and they're intermixed in ages, and they range from 16 down to soon to be 12.
All teenagers.
So, yeah.
Prayer works.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but our issue is more how when you're blending a family.
How do you get them to align? Because some of their ages do intermingle. So the youngest is no longer the baby of the family.
okay.
The oldest is no longer the oldest, and somebody's stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
How do you help them adjust to
I mean,
that realignment?
I guess there's no really one way to do it, but you know, one of the things that happened at our house is we created this system we have called accountability partners. You know, like the youngest one in my family is not the youngest anymore. So youngest in her family became a little bit up in the scale, and then the one that was the oldest is now in the middle. And that's where the real problem is, because when they can't be the number 1 child, the big head honcho, and all of a sudden there's a new head honcho, you got a problem. So we give, like the 2 older ones, we have certain things that they can do that the younger ones can't do, and it kind of builds a bond between those 2, you know.
My parents divorced when I was in high school, so it wasn't shocking or traumatic for me and my siblings, but they just recently started dating when I started college, and I'm just glad that they're not going to end up alone and die alone. So my dad's girlfriend, she's really chill. She doesn't try to like be my mom, and I don't go to her like a mom. But it's not awkward when we hang out. Like me, my dad, and his girlfriend will go get lunch. Like, she'll take me shopping sometimes, but she doesn't, she's not overwhelming about it. She doesn't try too hard. She just understands that, like, she's his girlfriend, not my mom. So she's just there for me when she can be, but she's not annoying
my
about
parents,
it.
or my stepmom and my dad, have been dating for like 3 years, and it's pretty awkward when we hang out together, even though I know her pretty well, but she's just not my real mom, so it's kind of hard to get used to that. But I think she knows her boundaries pretty well. We don't really hang out a lot. We're cordial to each other. But I'm glad to see that my dad's happy and he's not alone, really, because he wasn't very happy in the marriage.
With blended families, I feel like from coming from a blended family, I think it works out well, just as long as there's a healthy relationship between the child and their step-parent, just as long as, you know, they get along and both of the parents get along and there's not any sort of tension. I feel like it's not a bad thing. I feel like it works out for everybody.
Adoption does not care what race you are, white, black, red, yellow. Really, you have to look at what you're doing for that child. You're giving them a better opportunity and a better chance at life. I myself am adopted, and I really don't think I would be here if it wasn't for that, and I'm blessed.
Well, I think international adoption would actually work well for a child because if they weren't from the United States, they could learn a lot more about the cultures here, and the parents who adopted them could learn more about their culture, and overall I feel it would benefit the both of them.
Today we're talking about age differences in relationships. Like how old is too old, how young is too young. Is there such a thing?
Let me just say this, by the way. My first boyfriend was a year younger than me, and then
Mine too.
Yeah, and I felt like a cougar. What do you feel like? Did you feel like, no, this is not how it's supposed to be?
You guys are not 40 yet.
really.
You can't be a cougar.
No, you don't have
fine.
to be 40 to be a cougar.
I thought it was just someone who's much older.
You could be 31 and have a
12-year-old,
18-year-old boyfriend, and that's
12-year-old.
Let's just start by saying that
that's legal.
whoever you're dating has to be legal. Let's just start by
That
saying
ground
that.
rule.
I mean, of course, unless both of you are underage.
And you're not in a retirement home.
What?
On the real though, I think sometimes it's not safe to say, oh, if they're more than 13 years older than you, it is a problem right there. But I think it depends on who that person is and what your relationship is like. Like my age difference between my partner and I, it's 7 years. It doesn't really feel like it's...
But there's no equation, right?
Can you have conversations, or is one person talking about Britney Spears and the other one the Beatles?
I know, it's a bit odd.
But at the end of the day, it's what they want, right?
Age gap does not define a relationship, in my opinion. You know, I've had friends where their parents are 10 years apart or the same age. My parents are only about 4 or 5 years apart, if that. And the balance of power, I guess, is, you know, your typical family. Dad does this thing, mom does this thing, the kid does his thing, and then, you know, everything kind of works out. I guess there are times just like, what in the world are you doing? It's not right. Kind of weird, I guess, but that's just my opinion, I guess.
Actually, I don't really think age gaps in marriages matter. I guess as long as there's a limit, like, if there's a 10-year age gap, then I guess that would kind of be strange. But, I mean, as long as you love the person and both of them are of legal consenting age, I would say it's fine.
So I was in a relationship with a fairly big age gap, and we didn't really have a lot of like, serious problems, but a big problem we had was just like generational interest. Like he was really into Saved by the Bell and like Kenan and Kel, but I was a little behind that era. So like I'm more Hannah Montana, like Disney. But that was really our only issue, and you know, just was older. And that was really it.
My opinion about gay marriages are neutral. In the articles we read, it tells you how homosexuals, they don't raise a family no different than traditional families. But in my opinion, my personal opinion, it's just certain things a mother only can teach a child, and it's only certain things a father can teach a child. But it doesn't make the parents not capable of raising a child because they're gay.
Well, I'm not opposed with gay marriage couples and them raising children, but I definitely feel like it will have a bad influence on the children growing up, because I just personally feel like 2 women could probably raise a child better than 2 men, because that's just my opinion.